Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface on the PTR for patch 6.1, and in patch 6.1 flying will still not be introduced to Warlords of Draenor, a decision I personally think is correct. However, to compensate for this, Blizzard are trying to make flight paths a little bit more efficient. So let me just select a route to go to somewhere in Frostfire Ridge, a route where I have to go through another couple of flight path interchanges to get to my destination. Now in the World of Warcraft, sometimes stuff just happens. I realise that I've clicked the wrong flight path to get off at, or in general chat now somebody says, hey, Poundfist has just spawned in Gorgrond, get here as quick as you can, so I need to change my direction ASAP. Previously, we had to fudge this. We had to log out of the game quickly, log back in, and then when we did, it was dump us off at the next available flight path. But now, if you look on top of my action bars, you'll notice there is a button, and it's called the Request Stop button. If I was to press this now, it would drop me off at the next available flight path on the route to my destination, so I wouldn't have to travel the whole distance. I'm going to be talking about this with Danger Dolan in a video that we've already recorded in a couple of weeks' time. So it's, you know, some of the ideas which we come up in that video Blizzard are looking to introduce. So now, once I've landed at the next available flight path, I can select my new destination and then run off to Gorgrond in an attempt to obviously fail at getting Poundfist. So, although this system is pretty cool and works to a degree, as with most things, it does actually have a little bit of a flaw. So let me return back to the starting point where I was at the beginning of the video, and I'm now going to select an alternative destination for me to fly to. This one, however, is direct. There are no interchanges for me to go through, no additional flight paths that I would fly through before I reached it. So I start to fly, and then I realise I've actually selected the wrong destination for me to go at, or my time is going to be taken up elsewhere. Somebody calls out for help in Auchindoun or something. So I click the Request Stop button. I'm now flying over all the available flight paths. There was a flight path just down below, which I could have been dropped off at. It didn't do that. There's another one coming up here at Auchindoun, but we're bypassing that as well. We're just carrying on towards my destination. So why is this? Well, this Request Stop button actually relies on you having to go through additional flight paths to be dropped off at, and it will only drop you off at those ones en route. So if you do have a direct flight path system where you're literally going from point A straight through to point B, and trust me, there are a lot of those in the Warlords of Draenor, especially if you're setting off from places like Ashran or your garrison, you are not going to be able to get dropped off. I would have thought that the system would have worked by you pressing the button and it would just automatically take you down to the next available flight path on the ground. That is how the system, to me, should be working. But flight paths are not Blizzard's strong point. Let me give you a good example of this. Here I am at the northmost point flight path, the Iron Docks in Gorgrond, and I want to fly down to Darktide Roost. Why on earth is it detouring me over to Ashran? Under the new system, if I wanted to get off using the button, it would dump me off in the middle of nowhere. Look, if I wanted to go to the rise, just to the left of it, that flight path system is so much cleaner. And if I do make a mistake, then it will drop me off very nicely in the middle of Draenor and I can go and select something else. So what I'm going to do now is I've put two side-by-side footages next to each other. I'm actually going to time how long it takes to take the direct route versus my route, which is actually going to be down the middle, getting to the rise, then switching flight paths and moving on to Darktide Roost. I don't think there's going to be too much in it, to be perfectly honest with you. Okay, so I've moved the footage on a bit. On the right-hand side, we're just coming up to Socrathar's Rise. Now, if this was a direct route, it wouldn't be doing this turning arc to come in and land. It would just fly straight over and after I've selected the flight path, it wouldn't be doing the turning arc to leave either. So it would be actually way ahead. And in actual fact, because it's so close to Dark Tide Roost, it was actually probably going to land about 4:30. Around about 4:30. Well, on the left-hand side, the direct route is still ticking along, and that's going to land at around about 4:45-ish. So even on the right-hand side, with the turning arcs, and also with the change of flight path, it's only 2 or 3 seconds behind. That is it. So the other route would have been, you know, pretty much efficient, because you just sit here in silence for 15 seconds, and you'll realise that 15 seconds is a little bit longer than you think inside of your head when you're talking or you're doing stuff. But this isn't the crazy of the crazy. Let me return from Dark Tide Roost up now to the Iron Docks, and this is absolutely mental. At Dark Tide Roost, if I was to go the direct route back up to where I started from, in theory it should take me through Ashran. No, it takes me a much more efficient direct route. So why in the blue hell does it not take me this route on the way down? And again, I'm just going to move the footage on a little bit. We're coming to the end of the journey now. If we look at the stopwatch, it's 3:58, 3:59, 4 minutes. This is ludicrously quicker than the direct route it takes us from the same 2 points, but from the north down to the south. And the clock stops at 4 minutes and 5 seconds. That is 40 seconds quicker. So if you want to sit here now, never mind 15 seconds in silence, you sit here for 40 seconds in silence, and then you'll suddenly appreciate how long that is when you're not doing anything to occupy yourself with. So I think it's pretty darn clear Blizzard still have rather a lot to learn still about their flight path system. But on a positive note, look, you know, they're trying stuff with this next stop button, and it's the PTR, so things are subject to change. Blizzard could hopefully maybe see something like this video and say, yeah, why isn't the route from the north to the south the exact same one as the south to the north? Because it doesn't really make too much sense going to Ashran, does it? Especially when you have this drop-off button. But we'll have to see. Fingers crossed it will get a little bit better. But at least they're trying something. And I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media as well as Twitch for live streaming. Those links are in the description below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care, everybody. Bye-bye.